out here in the middle of the Arizona desert during one of the worst mega droughts of the past 1,200 years. So you might be surprised to know that a Saudi Arabian-owned company is being allowed to use these pumps to pump unlimited amounts of groundwater to irrigate farm fields in the desert and grow one of the most water-intensive crops there is, alfalfa. So what is this company doing with all of this alfalfa? Well, they're putting it on trucks, then they put it on trains, then they put it on ships, and they send it back to the Middle East. So why are they growing these crops out here in Arizona instead of back home? Well, it's illegal to grow a crop like alfalfa in Saudi Arabia because it uses too much water.
Just outside of a western Arizona town called Hope.
And as you can see, there's no water.
Cattle rancher Brad Mead is finding it hard not to lose his.
This was your well.
This was my well.
And now you got nothing.
Nothing but dust. You can toss a rock in and it's gone.
He then took us here.
This is the edge of your land here?
Yeah.
To show us his neighbor's land. He claims they've used so much water that his well went dry.
And that's all Fondamonte's.
All of that green over there.
That green is alfalfa, one of the most water-intensive crops. It's used as cattle feed and being grown on these massive farms in the Arizona desert by Fondamonte, which is owned by one of the largest dairy companies in Saudi Arabia.
So when you look out there and you see all that green, what do you think?
I see money leaving America. I see water getting depleted.
It makes me very angry because
La Paz County Supervisor Holly Irwin has been sounding the alarm about these foreign-owned farms since they began operating here in 2015.
Why would a company from Saudi Arabia be growing alfalfa in the Arizona desert?
because they've depleted their natural resource over there. So now they're here.
It's illegal to grow alfalfa in Saudi Arabia because it takes too much water. So Fondamonte bought vast tracts of desert in western Arizona on top of a massive groundwater aquifer, in part because there are no regulations on how much water can be pumped out of the ground.
So anybody can come out here and buy or lease land, and if you can put a well in and you can find water, you can take it.
That's right.
As climate change fuels devastating droughts, Arizona and its rapidly growing cities are facing drastic cuts to their surface water supply from the critically low Colorado River system.
We cannot afford to give our water away, frankly, to anyone, let alone the Saudis, for free.
Chris Mays is Arizona's newly elected Attorney General. As we talked to her at one of Fondamonte's farms, we saw a series of Fondamonte trucks hauling dried alfalfa off the property and down this dirt road. They ship it back to the Middle East to feed cattle.
So cows in Saudi Arabia are essentially drinking Arizona water.
Correct. These pumps are pumping water out of the ground that belongs to the state of Arizona, and essentially it's being exported to Saudi Arabia.
Fondamonte declined our request for an interview or statement, but what it's doing here is not illegal. In fact, the state of Arizona itself is renting this particular piece of land to Fondamonte for just $25 an acre. It can then pump unlimited amounts of groundwater for essentially no cost.
There's nothing to say except that's insane.
So if this is so obviously insane, how did this happen?
It's a great question.
CBS News obtained copies of several land leases dating back to 2014 that give Fondamonte rights to more than 6,000 acres of state-owned land and the groundwater that comes with it. The leases are signed by Arizona's State Land Department. We asked the department why it granted the leases, but it did not respond to our multiple requests for comment. Most state officials in charge when the leases were signed are no longer in office.
It is a scandal that the state of Arizona allowed this to happen.
The state doesn't even know exactly how much water the foreign farms are using.
Put an end to these sweetheart water deals.
Attorney General Mays, a Democrat, made canceling these leases a centerpiece of her recent campaign.
So we'll go see some land.
She took us on a state-owned plane to see the farms from the air.
I mean, that is a lot of green down there.
Using millions upon millions of gallons of precious groundwater. water.
She says canceling the leases is an urgent concern because groundwater in this valley is supposed to be the state's emergency water supply during a water crisis.
This is water that Phoenix is about to need. We are on the cusp of a potential water disaster.